Hello friends, myself Professor Pinkesh Patel from the Electrical Engineering Department from the College of Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Technical Education and Research Center, Navsari. Today I am going through a subject of Electrical Power System 1 having a subject code of 2150908. This subject that is the part of third year 5th sem. So today we can start with the chapter number 5, that is the DC and AC distribution. So this is the flow of the contents. First one, that is a distribution system, classification of distribution system, AC distribution and DC distribution, connection scheme of the distribution system, and last one, that is the types of distributor. So today we can start with the first one, that is the distribution system. So first question, that is the what do you mean by distribution system? So distribution system, that is the part of the power system which distributes the electrical power for local use is known as distribution system. So if we can go through a power system, so having mainly three components: generating station, transmission system, and last one, that is the distribution system. Electricity that is generated with the help of different kind of generating station at the 11 kV, which can transfer to the consumer with the help of transmission system and distribution system. So in this chapter we can learn about a distribution system. So distribution system which can transfer the power from transmission system to the consumer or load side. So in general, the distribution system is the electrical system between the substation fed by the transmission system and the consumer meters. It generally consists of feeders, distributor and the service main. So if we can go through a distribution system having mainly three components. So this is the distribution system having three components that is shown inside the figure. So first component, that is indicated by feeder, second one that is considered as a distributor, and third one that is the service mains. So we can start with the feeder. So first question that is arise, what do you mean by feeder inside a distribution system? So a feeder is a conductor which connects the substation or localized generating and to the area where the power is to be distributed. Generally there are no tappings are taken from the feeder side, and mainly the consideration in the design of feeder which is considered as current carrying capacity. So this is the figure for the distribution system. We can learn about a feeder. So here there are three feeders that is indicated over here. First one that is indicated over here, second one that is over here, and third one that is indicated over here, which is connected with one substation over here. So this is the one kind of conductor which can transfer the power to the distributor. Now we are going for the definition of the distributor. So distributor, that is the part of the distribution system. So a distributor is a conductor from which tappings are taken for supply to the consumer. So distributor that can take the powers from the feeder side, and then after it can delivers the electricity to the consumers. So that is the one kind of conductor. So inside the figure, AB, BC, CD and DA are the distributor. So in this figure, AB, BC, CD and DA are the distributors. The current through a distributor is not constant because tappings are taken at various places along its length. while designing a distributor, voltage drop along its length is the main consideration, since the statutory limit of voltage variation is plus or minus 6% of the rated value at the consumer terminals. So if we can go through a distributor side, so having a variation in the consumer voltage, that is the plus or minus 6% only. If the voltage that should be gone beyond that limit, so which is not considered as a proper variation of the voltages. And last one, that is the service mains, that is the part of the distribution system. So definition of the service mains is that a service main is generally a small cable which connects the distributor to the consumer terminals. So now we are going for the one example. Suppose having a one substation that is connected. With that substation, the electricity that should be transferred up to the transformer which is located nearer to the our society. So that conductor which is considered as a feeder. Now we are going for the distributor. So distributor which can transfer the power from transformer to the pole that is locating nearer to the our house, which is considered as a distributor. And last one, that is the service mains. So service mains, that is the one kind of cable from that we can take the electricity for our home appliances, or we can say that we can connect the home appliances with, or we can take the tappings from the pole to the home, which is considered as a service mains. So these are the all three components of the distribution system, that is the feeder, distributor and service mains. Now we are going for the classification of the distribution system. So classification of the distribution system, that is come inside the three category. First one, that is the nature of the current. Second one, that is the types of the construction. And third one, that is the scheme of the connection. Again, all three category having it can divided into different category. So first one, that is the nature of the current. So nature of the current, the distribution system which can divided again into two category. First one, DC distribution system, and second, that is the AC distribution system. So most probably based on the simple construction and economy, AC distribution system which is considered as a base system. So this is the, so for that we can go through a AC distribution system. Now second one, that is the types of the construction. So based on the types of construction which can divided into two category. First one, that is the overhead system, and second one, that is the underground system. So overhead system, that is much cheaper than the underground system, because the initial cost of the underground system which is very high as compared to the overhead system. So based on that we can go through a overhead system. And last one, that is the scheme of the connection. So in which it can divided into three category. First one, that is the radial system. Second one, that is the ring main system, and third one, that is the interconnected system. So that we will discuss later on. Now based on the nature of the current, it can divided into two category. First one, that is the DC distribution system and AC distribution system. So now we are going for the AC distribution system. So nowadays electrical energy is generated, transmitted and distributed in the form of alternating current. So the AC distribution, it can again classified into two category. First one, that is the primary distribution system, and second one, that is the secondary distribution system. So this is the part of the AC distribution system. Now we are going for the primary distribution system. So figure shows the single line diagram for the primary distribution system. So most probably for the primary distribution system having a voltage rating, that is the 11 kV, 6.6 kV and 3.3 kV, which is considered for the primary distribution system. And there is one more thing for the primary distribution system, which can use a 3-phase 3-wire system. So inside the figure, having a 3-phase 3-wire and having a input, that is the 33 kV, that can be stepped down up to a 11 kV. So 11 kV, that is come for the different kind of substation that is locating over here. That is one substation, that is second substation, and having a big consumer, or we can say factory, which is connected over here, which can require a 3-phase supply, which is considered as a R, Y and B supply. So 3-phase, which is the part of the primary distribution system, and industry and substation, which can require a 3-phase 3-wire system. So this is regarding to the primary distribution system. Now we are going for second one, that is the secondary distribution system. So figure shows the single line diagram for secondary distribution system. So whatever the output of the primary distribution system, that should be come for the as an input of the secondary distribution system. So output of the second primary distribution system, that is the 11 kV, that is the input of the secondary distribution system. Then after, output of the secondary distribution system, which can be in terms of 400 volt or 230 volt. Now there is one more thing that is seen inside the figure. There is one kind of transformer that is connected over here, and this is the delta star transformer, that is the part of the secondary distribution system. So there is one more question that is always come inside the exam, that is why inside the secondary distribution system we can go through a delta star transformer, because at the output side we can go through a star connection only, because there are number of three phase load as well as single phase load that is connected at the output of the secondary distribution system. And for the secondary distribution system having mainly the voltage of 400 volt or 230 volt, and having a phase of 3-phase 4-wire system, that is the part of secondary distribution system. So there are 4 wire that is indicated over here. First, that is the R, Y, B, and fourth wire, which is considered as a neutral point over here. So for the connection of the neutral point secondary distribution system, which can require a 4-wire system. So now if we can go through house number 1, which can connect with the phase B and the neutral point, so which is considered as a single phase supply. Now go for the house number 2, which is connected with the neutral and the Y phase, so again it is a single phase supply. Now go for the house number 3, which is connected with the single phase supply again, because which is connected with the phase R and the neutral point. There is one more load, that is the factory, which is considered as a 3-phase load, which can require 3-phase 4-wire system having a R, Y, B and neutral point, all 4 wire that is connected with the 3-phase load. So this is regarding to the secondary distribution system. There is one more thing. If we can go through a measurement of the voltages in between 2 phase, so we can get the voltage of 400 volt, which is indicated over here. And if we can go through a measurement of the voltage in between phase and neutral, so for that we can get the voltage of 230 volt, which is already shown inside the figure. So this is regarding to the secondary distribution system. Now we can go through a DC distribution system, because based on the nature of the current it can divide it into two category. First one, that is the AC distribution, and second one, that is the DC distribution system. So now up to now we are finishing the AC distribution system. Now we are going for the DC distribution system. The DC supply from the substation may be obtained in the form of 2-wire or 3-wire for distribution purpose. So now we are going for the 2-wire DC system. DC system which is not mostly used for the consumer side, because AC is much better than the DC distribution system. So now we can start with the 2-wire DC system. So figure 1, which is the single line diagram for the 2-wire DC system. So having a first wire which is indicated over here, which is the positive wire, and second one, and the current that is flow from this side which is indicated over here, and second wire which is indicated over here, that is the negative wire or return wire. There are number of loads, or we can say number of lamps and motor which is connected in parallel with the 2-wire DC system, but which is rarely used. So this is regarding to the 2-wire DC system. Now second one, that is the 3-wire for distribution. So it consists of 2 outers and middle or neutral wire which is earthed at the substation. The voltage between the outers is twice the voltage between the outer and neutral wire as shown in figure. The principal advantage of this system is that it makes available two voltages at the consumer terminals between V between any outer and the neutral at 2V between the outers. So now we are going for the figure side. So this is the single line diagram for the 3-wire for distribution system. So having a 3-wire, first one, that is the second one, and this is the third one. So having a 3-wire distribution system. Now having a 2 outers wires, that is the first, and this is second outers, and third one, that is the middle or neutral wire. So if we can go through outer side, so we can get the voltage of 2V. The outer voltage is, that is the 2V, whereas if we can go through one outer and the neutral side, so having a voltage that we can get it V only. Same way for the second side, neutral and the second outer, so for that we can get the voltage of V only. So from that, from the 3-wire distribution system, we can get the two voltages, first one, that is the V, and second one, that is 2V. So it is much advantageous if we can go through two outers, or we can connect the motors or heavy loads with the two outers. So for that we can get the 2 volt or twice the voltages, which is very beneficial for the consumer side. So this is regarding to the DC distribution system, in which having a 2-wire system and 3-wire distribution system. Now next one, that is the overhead versus underground system. How we can compare the overhead system versus underground system? So first one, that is the public safety. So underground system having a much public safety than the overhead system, because all the cables which is already constructed inside the main hole. So based on that we can say that public safety for the underground system is much better. Next one, that is the initial cost. So initial cost for the underground system, which is much higher than the overhead system. So inside the category of the underground system, having a large number of special equipment that is that may require for the underground system. Then after, different kind of cables that can be required, main holes. So for that, at the end we can say that the initial cost of the underground system which is higher than the overhead system. Third category, that is the flexibility. So how we can say that flexibility? So overhead system which is much flexible than the underground system, because based on the any load changes we can easily transfer the transformer, poles are shifted to the another place. Whereas if we can go through a underground system, so for that it is very difficult to shifting of all the transformer and all the cables and all the poles which is connected with the underground system. So based on that point we can say that the flexibility of the overhead system which is much better than the underground system. Fourth one, that is the fault. The fault which is always come inside the overhead system which is higher than the underground system. So the chances of the fault inside the underground cable which is very less. Appearance. The appearance of the underground system which is much better than the overhead system, because all the cables which is constructed under the main hole. Sixth one, that is the fault location and repairs. So it is very easy to find out the fault location and maintenance of the fault inside the overhead system, because suppose is there any fault that may be occur inside the underground system, so it is very difficult to find out the any fault that may be occur inside the underground system. Next one, that is the current carrying capacity and voltage drop. So the current carrying capacity of the overhead system which is much higher than the underground system. Next one, that is the useful life. The useful life of the overhead system, that is up to 25 years, whereas the useful life of the underground system, that is maybe up to 50 years. So based on that we can say that the useful life of the underground system that is much higher than the overhead system. And last one, that is the maintenance cost. The maintenance cost of the underground system which is much lesser than the overhead system, because all the equipment and cable which is locating under the ground. So this is regarding to the overhead versus underground system. Next category, that is the connection scheme of the distribution system. So based on the classification of the distribution system, which can divide third category, that is the connection scheme. So based on the connection scheme, distribution system which can divided into three category. First one, that is the radial system. Second one, that is the ring main system, and third one, that is the interconnected system. So now we can learn step by step for the all the system. So first one, that is the radial system. So inside the radial system, having only one substation which can supply the electricity with the help of feeder. So feeder which is connected with the substation. Then after, distributor AB that is connected with the feeder OC, and from the distributor there are the different kind of loads that is connected over there. So figure number 1, that is the DC radial system, and figure 2, that is the AC radial system. Now suppose is there any fault that may be occur at that point, so at that time whole system that may be break, and we cannot balancing the load at the consumer side, and the power transfer of power which is interrupted. So this is the main disadvantages of the radial system. But the 90% of the system in the India that is based on the radial system. Now second figure, that is for the AC radial system, in which having a one substation which is one feeder which is connected with the substation, here feeder which is indicated by OC, distributor AB in which having a one transformer that is connected over here, and the function of the transformer based on the requirement of the voltages which can step up and step down of the voltages over here. So that's why which is considered as a AC distribution system. Again, is there any fault that may be occur at the source side, then the whole system and the power transfer that is interrupted. Whenever we can go at the far away point of the substation, the value of the current that is in the decreasing order. Same way inside the DC system, whenever we can go at the far away point of the substation, the value of the current that is in the decreasing order, because different kind of load that is connected over here, and load that may take some amount of current, so value of the current that is in the decreasing order. So this is regarding to the radial system. Now second category, that is the ring main system. So inside the case of the ring main system, having a one substation which is connected with the feeder in terms of ring main system, like L, N, P, R, that is the feeder, and having a different kind of distributor, that is the M, O, Q and S, which is indicated as a distributor, and with the distributor different kind of load which is connected at the individual distributor. Now suppose is there any fault that may be occur in between SLM feeder, so at that time load balancing at that point which is interrupted, so we can try to balancing the load at that point via another way. This is the S, R, Q, P, O, N and M, and in this way we can try to balancing the load at the consumer side, and we can say that power interruption which is not interrupted inside the ring main system. The reliability of the ring main system is much higher than the radial system, because interruption of the power which is very less. Now third category, that is the interconnected system, and if we can go through a interconnected system, so number of generating station which is connected in the parallel connection which is known as the interconnection system. So figure shows the single line diagram for the interconnected system, in which two generating station which is S1 and S2 which is connected parallelly, having a different kind of feeder, that is the C, B, A and D, that is the feeder, having a different kind of distributor, that is the O, P, Q and R, with the distributor having a different kind of load that is connected over here. So as all we know, interconnected system, so there are two generating station which is connected in the parallel connection, one having a capacity of 500 megawatt and second one having a again 500 megawatt capacity, and at the load side having a load demand of 700 megawatt. So we cannot balancing the load at the consumer side from the any one of the generating station. So 500 megawatt power that is transfer from the S1 side, and 200 megawatt power that is transmitted from the S2 side, and in this way load balancing that is done at this feeder. So this is regarding to the interconnected system. So in this theory we can learn about radial system, ring main system, and third one that is the interconnected system. So from this lecture we can learn about a different what do you mean by distribution system, then classification of the distribution system, then based on the nature of the current, based on the construction wise, based on the connection scheme of the distribution system. So this is regarding to the connection scheme or regarding to the distribution system. Then after, next one, that is the types of the distributor. So the most general method of the classifying the DC distributor is the way they are fed by the feeder. On the basis, DC distributor are classified as: first one, that is a distributor fed at the one end, distributor fed at the both end, third one, that is the distributor fed at the center, and last one, that is the ring distributor. So this is the classification of the distributor, and previous theory, that is the classification of the distribution system. So in this way we can differentiate the distributors and distribution system. So now we can discuss all classification of the distributor step by step. So first one, that is the distributor fed at the one end. So here one feeder which is connected with the single phase supply, and AB, that is the DC distributor, and from the distributor there are three tappings that should be taken, and at the point of C, D and E, and the name of the tappings, that is the I1, I2 and I3. Now the current flowing through the AC section, that is the maximum, that is the I1 plus I2 plus I3. Whenever we can go far away point of the feeding point, the value of the current, that is in the decreasing order. So for the CD section, having a value of the current, that is the I2 plus I3, because first loading, that is the cut out. Now for the DE section, having a value of the current, that is the I3 only. And whenever we can go at the EB section, having a value of the current, that is the 0. From that we can make the conclusion, whenever we can go far away point of the feeding point, the value of the current, that is the decreasing order. So as the value of the current, that is in the decreasing order, the value of the voltage, that is again in the decreasing order. Now this system having a one disadvantage. Suppose is there any fault that may be occur over here, then whole system that may be interrupted, and we cannot balancing the load at the consumer side. So this is regarding to the distributor fed at one end. Second one, that is a distributor fed at both end. So figure shows the single line diagram for the distributor fed at both end, in which feeder which is connected from both the supply or both the substation, A that is connected with the substation A, and B that is again connected with the substation B, and in between having the three loadings that is shown inside the figure, I1, I2 and I3, and at the point of C, D and E. Now at the starting we cannot say that I1 loading that is balancing from A side or B side. So for whenever we can go through a DC distributor fed at both ends, having a value of the current in the decreasing order, then after we can get the minimum potential voltages, and again value of the current that is in the increasing order. So based on the value of the increasing and decreasing order, we can get the minimum potential point. So from that we can say that there are some of the loading that is balancing from A side, and there are some of the loading that is balancing from B side. The advantages of the DC distributor fed at both ends. Suppose is there any fault that may be occur inside the AC section, so at that time the current that is not flow like in that direction, and if my aim we can require load balancing at I1 side, so at that time from B side the current that should be flow like in that direction, and I1 that is balancing from B side. So this is the advantages of DC distributor fed at both ends. Third category, that is a DC distributor fed at the center. So this is regarding to the DC distributor fed at the one end. You can say this is DC distributor fed at the one end, DC distributor at the one end, and 2 times. So here see that this is the main point which is connected with the substation, and that current that is flow in 2 direction, like DC distributor fed at one end. So for that direction, current that is flow like I1 plus I2, and there are 2 loadings that is connected at the both side. So for the first side having a loading I1 and I2, and second side having a loading I3 and I4. So suppose is there any fault that may be occur in that section, whole system that is interrupted, and only that kind of direction that is balancing at the consumer side. So this is regarding to the DC distributor fed at the center. And last category, that is the ring distributor. So ring distributor, in which whole distributor that is connected in terms of ring types, having a distributor that is the ABCD or ABCD, that is the distributor, and from that having a tappings that should be taken I1, I2, I3. This is look like a DC distributor fed at the both end. So this is regarding to the ring distributor. The question from GTU papers. So whatever we have discussed up to now, this is the distribution system, classification of the distribution system, classification of the distributor, and from that the first question that is asked many times, that is the explain the connection scheme of the distribution system, and second one, that is the compare the merits and demerits of underground versus overhead system. So that is already we have discussed in this lecture. So in this lecture we can learn about the distribution system, how it can works, what is the classification of the distribution system, what is the classification of the distributor, and how it works, what is the role of the current and voltage, what is the role of the substation, feeder, distributor, and service mains inside the distributor. So all that things that we can learn from this lecture. So inside the next lecture we can go through an example that is based on a DC distributor fed at one end and DC distributor fed at both end. Thank you.